on the hardwood. And no, we are not talking Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder here, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking New York Knicks basketball. Why? Because yesterday, Leon Rose in the front office of the New York Knicks made the decision to relieve head coach Tom Thibodeau of his duties as the head coach of the New York Knicks. That ends a 5-year run with Tibbs at the helm of the New York Knicks. Now, I have to be honest with everybody here. I couldn't disagree with this decision more. Listen to some of the things that Tom Thibodeau has done in New York during his time as the head coach of the Knicks, and you tell me whether or not this was a rightful firing. And we can discuss the next steps for the franchise, possibility of winning a championship. Can this coach take you to a championship? I hear all of those things, but this was the best a Knicks team has finished in 25 seasons, their first Eastern Conference Finals since the 2000 season. The first time this team has reached the Eastern Conference Finals since the year 2000 in 25 years. And they took the Pacers to 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. He brought the Knicks to back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since 1995. Okay, yeah, what? You heard that correctly. He had 24 playoff victories in his 5 seasons at the helm of the Knicks. That is better than the previous 13 combined coaches prior to Tom Thibodeau's helm as the head coach of the Knicks. Those previous 13 combined for 7 total playoff wins. As a head coach, Tom Thibodeau had 24, took the Knicks to the postseason in 4 of the 5 seasons that he was the head coach of the team, and in 2020, 2021 was named the coach of the year. The biggest thing that you can say about Tom Thibodeau, and it's been said about him for the entirety of his career, he works his players too hard, he plays his starters too many minutes. And that was a defining characteristic of his time at the helm of the New York Knicks. As an avid listener of sports talk radio in the metropolitan area, the amount of times a fan or somebody came on the air and discussed how the Knicks need a deeper bench, Thibs plays his starters way too much, and this is going to come back and hurt them in the postseason. The amount of times I heard that is the only inkling of not surprised I have that Thibs has been fired as the head coach of the New York Knicks. Okay. But outside of that, you could argue that behind Pat Riley and maybe somebody from the 70s that actually brought the Knicks to a championship, Thibs is a top 3 coach, at least a Mount Rushmore top 4 coach in franchise history. Okay? And it is hard to justify signing a guy to a 3-year extension in the offseason prior to this season. Then you have the best season that you have had in a quarter century. And 2 days after that ends, 3 days after that ends, you fire the head coach that brought you there. And I hear the arguments, but is that a Tom Thibodeau thing? Or is that a New York Knicks front office thing? Was it necessary to trade so much for Mikal Bridges last offseason? Did the trade for Cat need to happen? Was Cat the answer? Or was running back the iteration of Julius Randle and company the answer? Because that, with Anthony Edwards, got the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals. Now, that's all well and good, but we're talking about winning championships here. And it's a lot like since we're going to have Rocky on the air today, because it's hockey with Rocky on a
day.
It's a lot like the Carolina Hurricanes in the National Hockey League. Okay, great. We've made the conference finals 3 straight years. By definition of close to winning a Stanley Cup, you would think the team outside of the team that loses in the Stanley Cup finals, it's the 2 teams that lost in the conference finals would be by nature the next 2 closest teams to be close to winning a championship. But for the Carolina Hurricanes, that's not the case, as we've seen for 3 straight seasons of not being able to make it out of the conference finals. And then on top of that, to flip it back, okay, that's exactly what I believe the front office of the New York Knicks decided yesterday when they fired the 3rd or 4th best coach in franchise history and hands down the best coach in the 21st century. There's no argument there. He is the best coach the Knicks have had in the 21st century and in a quarter of a century. And he is no longer the head coach of the Knicks. Here is what the front office had to say. Our organization is singularly focused on winning a championship for our fans, team president Leon Rose said. This pursuit led us to the decision to inform Tom Thibodeau that we've decided to move in another direction. We can't thank Tom enough for pouring his heart and soul into each and every day of being the New York Knicks head coach. Ultimately, we made the decision we feel is best for our organization moving forward. Tom will always be a part of the Knicks family, and we truly wish him nothing but the best in his future. The real question now becomes, who's next? Okay, because if you fire a guy that brought a franchise back to prominence that hasn't sniffed prominence in so long, you better make the next hire money. This cannot be a scenario where you fire this guy who, in theory, there was actually really no need to fire him. Because, again, of course we want to win a championship, but let's start with where we are here. Leon Rose, 5 years ago, not in the postseason. I'll take it a step further. 7 to 8 years, atrocious. 5 years ago, sniffing the postseason. Last 4 years, guaranteed playoff spot. Last year, almost guarantee top 8 team in the NBA. At least a top 3 or 4 team in the East. Every year you can go into it right now with that feeling as a Knicks fan. Ever since the Jalen Brunson trade. Ever since we started to manipulate and shape-shift this roster. And it's been good. And I understand a coach can only get you so far thought process, but he's getting you farther. It's not like they took a step back. They took a step forward. And the only name I have on my list before we bring Rocky in here is the one and the only Michael Malone, who in his 8-year tenure with the Denver Nuggets had 401 wins. That is the most out of any franchise during that stretch. 26 ahead of the next closest team, brought the Denver Nuggets as well to a championship, their first in franchise history during the 2022-2023 season. Outside of that, we're trying to go get Eric Spoelstra from the Miami Heat. Those are the only 2 names that I see suffice if you want to make this the right decision for the New York Knicks. But Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, today doesn't deserve to not have a job. And tomorrow should be the first name on any team looking for a head coach in the NBA's list.